Alrighty, what is going on, everybody? In today's video, we'll be breaking down dirty docks. I'm going to try a whole different style here, so please let me know how you like the style, if it explains stuff more clearer, you guys can see the stuff more. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy. Cheers. Alrighty, here is the chest breakdown of dirty. In total, there are 32 chest spawns. As we can see, there's 5 back here at this building, which is the most. There is 3 over here, 3 right here, and 3 right here. So these have the biggest or the most amount of chests. Now, ideally, you want to find a split that is pretty easy to protect and easy for your team to work around and to fight with, and then also has a fair amount of loot. For example, send in 2 people back here maybe. Let's do a different color, yellow. So do 2 over here, and these guys hit all of this. And 1 goes crate. That could work because then you have 5, 7. You have 10 chests, but they're really spread out, so it might be really weird because if blue team does something like 3 and they full send this guy, it's going to take a long time for yellow, these two, to be able to support their teammate. So, other split examples, which these ones are more common, we can do something where you do 1, 2, and 3. This way that if blue decides to send anybody at these 2 buildings, so let's say they send 1 here, and then they do 2 and 3 like this. Well, what you guys can do is easily full push this guy because he'll have nowhere to go. He won't have enough mats to run up the mountain or run this way. And he can try to loop all the way around like this, but I mean, hopefully 3 spots him, and then you guys can all kind of push him like that. That would be a really bad push. You guys would almost be claiming 4 buildings, but only landing at 3 of them, because you would claim this back building because no one can land back here. Because if they did, then you guys, would just run at them and gank them, or you could do something similar where you do 1, 2, 3, but then, leaving up the middle building here is a little bit more riskier because it's easier for their team to support them over here and to basically help this guy get out than if he was forced to land back here. Another good thing I recommend is making a breakdown to make some callouts of what you would call all of these places so you guys can, call out where people are landing. So another common split would be, 1, 2, and 3. So what this does is that you send 1 who would hit this chest down here and would hit, probably half of this building. So he would get over here and he would get 4 chests. Then this guy would hit half of this building. I think he has 3 chests over there. And then one of them would go to crates over here and loot this up. And what you would end up happening is, let's just say this guy hits this building already, he hits here, and he pulls up like this just to see what's going on over here. This guy, if he needs loot, he can pull back over here. This dude does like this. Then you guys loot all of this together. You either send this guy on top of this building too, something like this, to come support, or he can get on top of this building here. So you have one guy sitting right here, watching to see where the enemies are on this side of the map. But this building is, for some reason, really contested. I think it's because it's probably, it might be the highest up. I think the cranes are highest, and then this is pretty high up as well. But in comparison, just for the rooftops, I'm pretty sure this is the highest up, so this is the highest point. Plus, if you claim here, you pretty much own all back here as well, so you get 5 chests, which is as much as this one over here. That's right. So you can claim all that. So you can split that. Probably, ideally 1 person would get that. Then you land 1 crane. Then we get another one over here, and then you land 1 here. So we have 3, 5, 8, 10 chests, which is pretty much the same 2, 4 as was 4, 6, 11. So 11. You guys would get 10 chests, they would get 11. Then all these sprinkled chests throughout it. So it's pretty much even whatever split you do. There are some downsides and upsides of each one, so I'll just go over those again real quickly. First one is this side over here. If you do a split like this, is the loot is more spread out. We have a chest a little over here, 2 chests here. The crates are now easier to loot because you can break them all with a cone. And there's mad ammo in here. These are pretty easy, but it's just that the loot is a little farther and probably a little bit more difficult to loot. Actually, honestly, might even be even if they decide to hit all these buildings. So you get 10 chests, you get one less chest over here, and then on this side we have all this to loot here. So they can keep one person on one of these buildings for lookout, as this guy can keep one here. So the chances are there are more angles to play from if you're on this side, because you can send people on each building. This guy can watch, this half. This guy can watch the other half, and also watch like the cross to see if it crosses over. So you do have more area to work with if you're on this side of the map. You can run out easily. You can do a bunch of other stuff, and you do have, I think the mats are pretty much even. There is a bunch of pallets over here. There's also a bunch of pallets. Let's just go back to pink for mats. There's a lot of pallets in this truck right here. There's the trees, which are pretty easy to get. There's a lot of metal back here from the fences. And probably these trees would be a little bit more riskier. There also is a lot of wood in this spot here. I think that's really it for like good mats, and then some stone that you might be able to get if you send somebody on top of this hill. Then for the other side over here, we do have a fair amount of trees, bushes, fences here, which are pretty good mats. Probably cap out pretty much everybody over here. You have pallets in here, pallets in here, pallets right there. A fair amount of mats in this building, more metal here, more metal here. I think there's a pallet here as well, metal. So you pretty much can cap out a lot of people just on this side alone, so you don't even really need to go to this side all the way over here. Now, the biggest thing why I prefer to land on this side of the map is just because you have more options. You can dip out more easily and you have more places to go afterwards. So let's say that you are, let's just this stuff. Let's say that you landed over here. You can hit all this and then just be out. Grab your metal from the mats we just talked about and just drive down here, hit mini junk, or go up and hit radio tower. And if you're landed on the opposite side, you don't really have that option like they do. So really what would happen is if you landed over here, your options are to grab a boat and boat out this way, or boat out this way and go hit there's a bunch of stone right over here as well. You pretty much also get all of this chest too as well, but it is a little bit weird to fight in. Maybe this is really iffy, is send one person all the way back there, but the downside is if these guys can call it out, then they can full send this guy. And if they're quick enough, like going all the way around like this before he gets into his team, then it could be really bad for your team. So I will be right back with the next screenshot and the breakdown that comes along with it. So this screenshot here is focusing primarily on crates here and whatever you want to call this building, as well as crane. So there are 3 chest spawns, I think, if I remember from the last one right here. There's 1 on this crane, 1 on this crane, and 4 over here with 1 down here. I think this is the split. We also have 1 right here. So it could be a thing if there's a lot of teams. So if we talked about the last one, so let's say we have blue over here and they're landing like this. Then yellow's doing the split I talked about in the last one over there. So we have the teams. This could be a shamble drop where you send us be pink here. We send 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. You guys just hit all of this. Maybe even try to yoink this part here, but that's a little risky. Yoink all of this and go out and you hit brick. That's back here where grotto used to be. Then you could loop around to Ozark or just go up and over or whatever. So you could do that. So that would be how many? 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's 10 chests. There really are, depending on the split, there are 10 chest crates. You'll probably fight over crates between the blue team. And the downside is that if you guys get into a fight here, so common place that fights break out are right here. If a fight happens here, then yellow can come and third party this and get on top of this building here. You guys would all be fighting, then they can third party and win the fight. So I'm trying to nail this into your guys' heads. If yellow is over here, say this guy's yellow. This is all their team is all here. They're fighting blue, and you want to be the team that third parties this. You don't want to be one of the guys in here. And if you notice, so let's say you are yellow, and you hear black, third party in blue, you want to let them fight and wait for them to start fighting, and then you technically re-enter the fight as the third party. So hopefully this helps you out with, I would call this more of a shambles drop. You guys get beat to everything else, so you pick crates, crane, and whatever you guys want to call this building down here. I don't know. What? That looks like a mint. Mint? I don't know. Whatever you want to call this one down here. So take this drop here and then try to rotate out or push in once they start fighting. Another very underrated drop or strategy with Dirty that I don't see a lot of people use, but I have seen it myself, is that you send one person radio tower up here. There's a chance for 3 chests to spawn as well as floor loot. So you might be able to even get, if you're lucky enough, all 3 chests and like pretty good fighting weapons, and then you would, 30, 60, you'd have 90 builds or 9 builds to work with. You could come down this mountain here and join the fight. But the downside is that if, let's say you do 1, 2, 3 like this, downside is that if they do something like this, where they send the third guy down here at the building we can't see, you're basically screwed because they can all push up the mountain, and if they're quick enough, they can kill you, especially if you don't realize that your teammates landed far and you jump down and you're running down the mountain trying to hit this. Completely isolated, and yellow can just full send you and kill you quick. Then it's a 2v3 for black, and then yellow just finishes it off and wins. Now, if this was this case, what I would recommend is ziplining down and then entering down like this. So you would zipline down and you would come all the way over here. Now, what's the downside of this is that if yellow recognizes that you're going this way, what they can do is just start the fight inside dirty. Because it's still a 2v3 inside dirty for a bit. You'll be, somewhere over here or over here, and you'll still be, probably like 10 seconds away. So that's 10 seconds where they can completely bombard your 2 teammates. The only way this really works is if you send one up here and then you guys contest the bottom part down here. So let's say blue does this, they own all of this. It's a pretty good split for them. You guys do 2, 3, and then pink does 1, then 2, and then 3 down here at the parking lot. So this is good because you don't force one into taking the loot from 2 to 3. And if they do end up fighting early like this, it is kind of bad because one still has to run all the way down. So the ideal path would be that 3 hits this building super quick, loots up everything, and immediately goes back here with 2 to farm up. If 1 has a really good shot and really good accuracy, he could even sit up here, tag these guys while they're flying in as well, or tag them when they're trying to push his teammates, something like that. But the best scenario is you send 1 here, you send 2 over here down at this building, and you send the third guy, or so we go 1, 2, and we send the third guy up here in radio tower. And they go 1, 2, 3. So you almost pinch them already from 3 sides, because 1 can attack from the front, 2 can attack from either one's of these sides, and then 3 can go all the way down the mountain or loop around. The downside is, again, that if these guys recognize that this guy's a solo over here, they can full send him, and then that could be a 1v3 that quickly turns into a 2v3. But this is a viable strat if you want to use it, is to land someone at radio tower and let them rotate through. So for example, if you decided to do another one, so you do something like this. One person lands crates, this guy lands back here, this guy hits radio tower, and he comes down and picks up maybe this house and heads in like this and hits crane. Now this guy's 3 chests, he has 6 chests. This guy over here gets 5 chests, and this guy over here gets 3 chests, and then you guys would rotate either or something like this. The screenshot here just shows the elevation of it all, so we can see that back here is the highest surface, excluding the cranes over here, as well as the radio towers that are all up here. This is the highest surface really in dirty. You don't really get much people sitting on top of the cranes because it does take a long time to get down. Go help your teammates if they're fighting. So what might end up happening is you get somebody landing up here, or just watching out, landing up here. So like these are the roofs here. Not a lot of people stand on these ones. These are really the groups you have to worry about. A common fight in things is that you fight over here, back here at the pallet truck, or these guys push up, and ideally you want to wait for them to get somewhere over here. If we have all three of them kind of running through like this, then you have a guy hiding in this, and then you guys can spray, send one up the middle like that. Now, if you're the team over here and you want to push from this side, I recommend sending one person up here and then send in two down there, or even send in all three up here. A lot of teams forget that they can go on this mountain and easily get behind them. So that's a really good flank that not a lot of people expect, especially the team over here doesn't really expect it because you can hide completely and then loop and be all like behind them while they're just sitting up here. Fighting on this building is pretty good if you could remember that you can't place your walls here. So that's a mistake a lot of people make because they try to place the walls or box up like right here. And then you just go on the other side and shoot them. Yeah, this just shows the elevation of it all so you guys can get like a grasp of the highest spots here at Dirty. Here is going to be talking about really what are the biggest worries for teams that have to rotate in. And I'd say the number one worry for Dirty is any team that does a lake house radar split like this. Common push is the push into retail over here, but it is an option that if they get really good loot and they're unconned and they can key, is they can simply just take the radar and come all the way back here and full send Dirty. Once they make it past this lip, they're 100% going to be coming in Dirty. So, what if we have something where you're team black, you're fighting yellow right here, pink third parties, and then blue comes flying in. And now we have four teams here, and the starting two teams are the most shambles because they've been fighting. Pink joins in, so now we have a V1, and then blue comes out of nowhere and starts, tagging people off because they're absolutely kitted. Other than them, another team that I would worry about, this would be a pretty iffy push because most commonly retail just goes up to caddy like this or pushes down to lazy. But if 30 is in zone, they can take the zip line all the way down and push down into 30 like this. That's pretty, crucial because if they own this mountain here, they can almost get free surge tags on you because you'll be looting up, whatever. And it kind of forces you guys to swim around on one of these sides or go up and, get tagged a lot for shield, and that's just really annoying. And then the only other team that can really mess with you guys is the commie split, which I'll show next. So the commie split is something like this. They try to get mini junk, bridge, and farmhouse. Maybe even try to yoink some corny or hit the spire over here or go to radar, like whatever happens. And usually I'd say the commie split team doesn't push in. They farm their metal and they just go to zone because this is a little bit more of like a safe split. And I don't think they would psycho as often. And if they would, I think they would either go up to radar or they would go into corny. Going back to dirty is probably only possible if they have really good loot and they have zone. So if zone pulls dirty, then that's a chance they might come back. But another good thing to worry about or to think about is that when you're rotated in, where would the commie split team be? Well, they have to farm their metal. So they either bridge unless there's max metal. There's a fair amount of metal at these places here. So they might be able to cap out there and there's fishing spots and stuff like that. But if you have zone, fighting the commie split team is probably a very good idea because you have way more chest than they do. Probably way more shield, especially if you guys were unconned. You get, cap, and you just full send the commie team. Might be really worth it just to kill them as quickly as possible. And that goes the same way for the Lake House team. Reverse 2K, Day, and Marrow, they push the Lake House team so much because they just have so much. The split is just so big. They get decent fighting loot and they go up and they key them, especially if they're in zone. That's how they get their surge. And yeah, so that will conclude the dirty breakdown. Let me know how you guys like this format where instead of using Fortnite.gg, we use the actual map. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and yeah, cheers.